Hello, welcome to the Biohacking Beauty Podcast. My guest
Hi.
today is Cristina Olteanu. Cristina, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Hi, guys, I'm Cristina. I'm originally from Romania and I study medicine in Germany. So I came to Germany 6 years ago. But my skincare journey began way earlier, way before med school, because I've struggled with some serious skin conditions myself. I've had a bad hand eczema as a child and pretty bad acne as a teenager. So, as you can imagine, I've seen a lot of dermatologists, but these dermatologist visits were not always the best thing for me because I've tried a lot of topicals, a lot of creams, lotions, and that kind of stuff, but not always with the best results. So yeah, that was kind of the point when I've decided to take this things seriously and to take matters into my own hands.
Mhm.
So skincare and skin health and the relationship between skin health and our lifestyles became really a passion for myself, for me, and yeah. That's when it all started. It was kind of like 5 years ago. So yeah, that's kind of my background story.
And you are right now basically in medical school in order to become a dermatologist, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm working the dermatology world right now, and I will become officially a doctor in 3 months.
Wow,
Right.
congratulations.
Thank you. And right.
So,
So
in
my
the
yeah.
past, go ahead.
Yeah, so my passion for skincare became even bigger during med school because it is during med school when I realized how many people struggle with skin conditions. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it's like 1 in 3 to 4 people that are affected by skin conditions at any given time. So I mean that's pretty big, right?
Yes. And normally, the skin conditions that you see, what are the underlying conditions that cause these skin conditions? Or, you know,
Mm,
what do
yeah.
you see normally?
Well, I guess inflammation is kind of the root of almost all skin conditions we see, almost all chronic skin conditions at least.
Mhm.
And yeah, and
So,
inflammation, yeah, sorry.
so inflammation, maybe you can get into a little bit what inflammation is, how is it created, and why should we care about it? Because, you know, let's say I don't have any skin issues per se. Let's say I'm
Mm,
a, you know, a person in my 40s and my skin obviously is aging. It doesn't look like it looked in my 20s, but it's not like I have eczema or something. Then why should I care about inflammation?
well, I do believe that this appearance of our skin indicates what is going inside. And I mean, if you are aging prematurely, for example, that is for me an indicator that there is some inflammation somewhere in the body too, and not only in your skin. So, yeah, inflammation has a lot to do with lifestyle. This means diet, stress, and sleep. And
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, it's pretty compelling because we see an increase in incidence in acne incidence in westernized societies, and
Mhm.
at the same time there is no such thing as acne in non-westernized populations. So
Wow,
I'm
I actually
yeah,
didn't know that. So
yeah,
that's very interesting. And what do you attribute it to? The fact that it is a Western phenomenon.
yeah, I mean these people in this non-westernized these non-Westernized populations, they do not have access to diets that are high glycemic index diets. This means diets high in refined carbohydrates, sugars, and very processed foods like, I don't know, candy bars, your crackers, protein bars. I mean, all that stuff that we all know is not good for your overall health. That stuff is not good for your skin as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a good thing to consider that our skin is another organ in our body. It's actually our largest organ that we have in our body.
Yeah.
And if we treat it like an organ, I think it would make more sense to the average person. It would make more sense. Why should I keep my overall health and maintain my overall health if all I care about in this world is the way my skin looks? Because you do meet a lot of people, in their 40s that, smoke a cigarette here or there, or eat, the wrong kind of stuff. And when you get into a small conversation with them and ask them what they think about their aging of the skin, they give you an answer a little bit like a silver bullet answer. They give you an answer, oh, when I'm 50 or when I'm 60, I'm going to have a facelift, or I'm going to do a bunch of procedures, and I'm going to press the proverbial reset on my system. And this is obviously not the right approach, but I am curious to hear why you would think it is not the right approach, and what is the right approach. If I am right now, okay, let's start with that, and we'll continue. But why do you think it's the wrong approach, and what is the right approach?
Yeah, I mean, of course, you can do a facelift, or you can have a facelift done with 50. But like I said, I mean, diet and lifestyle, a good lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle, does not affect only your skin, but also your internal organs. So, I mean, you do not see that, but yeah, those effects are there and are there to
Yes.
stay. So I guess you are doing yourself a favor by choosing this approach, because your overall health is benefiting from it as well as your skin health. And I mean, you cannot treat your whole body when you are 50, right? I mean, maybe you can do a facelift, but what about the rest of your skin?
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. So what would you say? Abraham Lincoln said, an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. I love this
Yeah.
sentence.
Yeah, well,
And
it's something new for me. Yeah,
yes,
but I mean, that's totally right. That's the right approach in skincare and in dermatology.
so if you could, if you took someone who is a teenager is a little
Mm.
challenging, right? It's very
Mm.
subjective. But let's talk about someone who is 25 and has started to hear about the fact that they are producing less collagen right now, or that their NAD is declining. We can talk about NAD, or that they know they're not 18 anymore, right? In different cultures, like Eastern European cultures, you're considered even like old if you're not married in that stage. So let's talk that
Yeah.
let's talk about this 25-year-old that is seeing the starting of the aging process and saying, you know what, I want to have that ounce of prevention. How does my routine look like? What should I do?
Yep, great question. Thank you. Yeah. Well, I'm a big fan of keeping things simple at first. I mean, when we are 25, you do not need 20 products or 30 products or a 12-step Korean skincare routine. As I mean that's a little bit too much for my taste. So I would say keep it simple and stick to the basics. And my favorites are the retinoids, the antioxidants, and the sunscreens. I mean, if you get
Okay.
those three right, you are, I mean, you are good to go for a long time, and you will prevent aging as well as inflammatory skin conditions like acne, rosacea, in eczema and that kind of stuff.
And as far as, so let's go one by one. As far as, let's say about, you did mention Korean skincare, and right now, I have no idea why double cleansing is so popular. It's crazy to me. This is as old as skincare itself. The fact that you remove your makeup and then clean your face, but somehow it became a Korean beauty staple. So
Crazy.
let's talk about, first of all, a 25-year-old as opposed to someone that is older. Is there a difference in how they clean their face?
Well, I mean, of course, if you wear makeup, you have to take that off in the evening, and you have to be sure that you are removing all that makeup, because it will clog your pores during the night. So you want to get that right. And you hit home with a cleansing and with a double cleansing, because I mean, if you have oily skin and you're putting all that oil on your skin, I mean, it's probably not the best thing to double cleanse or to use an oil cleanser. But if you are more on the drier side, you are okay and you're fine with the double cleansing. And back to your question, I mean, the most important thing is, no matter, I mean, if you are 25 or if you are 50, you have to be sure that you get all that makeup off and that you cleanse your skin the right way. And I would say, if you are 25 and your skin is kind of oilier, you could use a cleanser with a little bit of salicylic acid or glycolic acid. And if you are on the older side or a wiser side, I would suggest that you use more a gentler cleanser, because I mean, we lose a lot of hyaluronic acid, a lot of ceramides with time. So it wouldn't be so harsh if your skin is a little bit older. Yeah.
And now we cleansed our skin. The next step, you would say, would be retinoids.
Yeah, right. You can start.
So could you explain what retinoids are and why they're important?
Yeah, so retinoids, I mean, this is a very big family of vitamin A derivatives, and you can get them over the counter. They are known as retinols, and you can get also a prescription retinoids. They are called retinoids, and they are very, very important because they are very well researched, and I think they are one of the best molecules out there for their anti-aging effects. So we do not have something right now, I guess, that's much better than retinoids or retinol. And they work in our skins at a genetic level, so they really modify your genes, and that leads to an increased cell turnover. They reduce inflammation and they slow down collagen breakdown. And I mean, this really prevents and treats UV photo damage, like fine lines, wrinkles, those dark spots or sunspots. And they are also the go-to medication for acne treatments. So, I mean, this is a big package of benefits. Yeah.
I'm actually reading a study about supplementing on vitamin A to an extent, to crazy extent, in order to reduce acne. But I don't want to actually mention it too much because it's so controversial that I feel like we would do a disservice.
Yeah, I mean, there's some misinformation out there, I guess, because just by taking vitamin A, I mean, it could work for your acne, or it could improve your acne, but it is also kind of red zone or red flag for me, because vitamin A is a fat soluble vitamin, and it remains in your body for a long time. in your liver too. I mean, in your fat and in your liver. And yeah, when you have too much of this fat, you can also get some serious issues with it, like hair loss and brittle nails, or very dry skin. And I mean, you can use Accutane. That is also a vitamin A derivative. That's a prescription medication from your dermatologist, but it does not work the same. It is a little bit modified, and it does not work exactly the same way vitamin A works. And I mean,
Understood.
that's safe, but vitamin E taken alone at home as a supplement, I would not recommend that to anyone.
Understood. Okay, so let's get back to topical vitamin A's or retinoids or vitamin A derivatives. One of the things that you see a lot of people talking about is dosage and also the occurrence. So how many times a week someone should use it. Let's assume someone does not go to their provider. They want to buy it over the counter. Obviously, we sell type of retinol, so they obviously can buy it from us. But let's talk about in general. Someone wants to start using retinol as part of their routine. How should they start? Are different types of skin reacting differently to retinoids? What would you say about that?
Yeah. So of course, I would suggest you start with a low concentration of retinol. If you want to start with a retinol over the counter, I would suggest you start with a 0.1% retinol, and that you use it once per week, the first 2 weeks. And if you can tolerate it perfectly, I mean, if you don't get any redness, any flakiness of the skin, any skin irritation, then you can increase the frequency of use. You could use it for, I mean, two times per week the next week, and you can increase the frequency every 2 weeks until you can use that low concentration that you've started with for every night, and you could do that for 3 months. And after 3 months, you could change the concentration. You could upgrade your retinol. I mean, if you've started with 0.1%, you could go to 0.3% after that, and so on. And you repeat the steps I've mentioned.
How about the skin around the eyes or any other type of skin? Is there a skin, maybe upper lip? Is there a skin that maybe you should be more cautious as far as retinoids?
Yeah, especially if you have dry, I mean, that's true for everyone actually, because the skin around the eyes is very thin and very kind of reactive to these actives that are very strong. So I would suggest you use a formulation that is more gentler around the eyes. And especially if you have dry skin, I would suggest you avoid nasolabial folds, because that area also tends to be very irritated by retinoids and retinols.
Okay.
Yeah, so another thing I would like to mention is there are people out there who cannot tolerate any type of retinol or retinoids. So, I mean, they could use. I have good news for them, because we have bakuchiol right now. It's kind of a trend also, but there are some studies that suggest that bakuchiol has the same effects on the skin as retinol, but without the side effects of it. So that's great news for anyone who has very sensitive skin.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, when we talk about something that makes the skin sensitive, the next question, and it's something you've already mentioned, is sun exposure and protection. So you mentioned SPFs. The first question I would like to let's go over the things that everyone should know. Is SPF needed only when I go outside and there is bright sunlight directly on me? Let's start with the most simple question.
No, you need SPF inside too, because we know now that visible light and blue light is also affecting your genes and leads to aging of the skin over time. So this, I mean, you won't get a sunburn from your blue light from your laptop or iPhone or something like that, or skin cancer, but this kind of light affects our genes, and it has a cumulative effect over time in aging our skin.
Mm-hmm.
So you need
So
sunscreen every day if you are inside or outside, if it's rainy or cloudy. It's that
okay.
doesn't matter. Yeah.
How about if it's nighttime? Yeah, let's say you're going to a party. Would you wear sunscreen?
Well, I mean, if you want to be extra cautious, then you could. I mean, that's nothing that says, well, you cannot do that, because, like I said, the blue light that is coming from our devices is really aging our skin. That's
Okay.
a new data, but I mean, you don't necessarily have to wear it at night, so also not when you are going to bed. Yeah.
Okay. How about there is a lot of debate, and we have been looking at creating sunscreens for a while now, and a lot of doctors are against what is called chemical SPF and are recommending either zinc oxide or titanium dioxide. What is your take about it as far as health? Maybe you could also explain why some doctors don't recommend chemical SPFs.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think there are some studies there that were done on mice that indicate that these chemicals, right, that we use in chemical sunscreens are detected in our blood, and that they are kind of endocrine disruptors, and that they could lead to cancer. But this, I mean, we have to be honest. These mice are injected with tons and tons of chemicals. So these dosages are not even close to what we're putting on our skins and to what was detected in the human blood. So if I use a chemical sunscreen right now, you could, yes, you can detect those chemicals in my blood, but that does not mean that I will get cancer or I will get some endocrine problems.
Okay.
I mean, our bodies are made, are constructed in a way that can eliminate these chemicals. So,
Yeah.
what do you think about it?
I think that I have a problem with rodent studies and skincare in general. Okay, there is the anything from metabolism to the way that rodents deal with toxins are not equal to humans. Therefore, when you translate dosages, you're meeting a lot of things on the way that you need to speculate. Exactly like what you just mentioned, which is, okay, we have a very small amount of that molecule circulating in the blood. We know when that molecule is present, more mice are getting or there is an inclination for cancerous tumors. Now the question is, you've made these mice that are normally nocturnal actually, run around during the day, which is an amazing stressor, and that is, by the way, that is a big problem with any rodent study in my eyes, because you operate a lab during daytime. So that these
Yeah.
mice who are normally used to living at night are now operating out of their circadian or out of their natural circadian rhythm. And that, as you've mentioned before, sleep and circadian rhythm is a huge factor in our body's ability to manage tumor growth, etc. So yeah, I do have a problem with anything that would show cancerous activity. But again, as far as SPFs go, I feel like the science is not there. I don't think there has been enough studies, especially not human studies, and there is no great incentive to conduct human studies because there are no patents around it. So that is a very big challenge. As far as zinc oxide, I think the main problem is that it's like ride-sharing apps before Uber, right? It's not that it's not a good idea. It's just that it is very complicated. You normally nanosize it. It feels like bad makeup normally on the skin. It's not true that it's completely invisible. Normally, you need to incorporate a tint with it, which would drive away some of the male population. So we have some issues there.
Yeah, but I mean, you can target people with melasma or with hyperpigmentation because tinted sunscreen. I mean, this has been shown that tinted sunscreens are protecting people with melasma much better and are kind of preventing this pigment formation in the skin. So, I mean, that could be.
So what would you, okay, so you know, I think someone, if they can stand it, then maybe we can recommend some brands because you would know much better than I. If someone can stand zinc oxide sunblocks, I think it's a good idea. Because there's nothing showing that it's a bad idea. So as far as that is concerned, but you know, let's move on. So you said retinoid sunscreens. What else would be for you like a big game changer or something that a skincare 101, someone who's starting, what else should they have on their countertop?
Yeah, antioxidants. I mean, I love them, and the science behind them makes sense for me because just think, let's just talk a little bit about it. I mean, as we are out and about, we're busy with our daily lives, there are a lot of external factors like UV radiation, pollution, and also internal factors like metabolism activation and oxidation processes that just happen in our bodies. And both these external and internal factors lead to the buildup of free radicals. So these free radicals damage our skin's collagen. And what we want to do with antioxidants is we want to combat these free radicals.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about free radicals. I think free radicals are super interesting. Also because it's already a common phrase, right? Free radicals. But not a lot of people know that there are different types of oxidative stress or oxygen species, right? So that's number one. And then what is confusing, or when you understand that there are different ones, you kind of scratch your head and say, I wonder if I'm using the right one, and how would I know if I'm not using the right one?
Yeah, well, my favorites are, I mean, there are a lot of antioxidants out there, but not all of them are backed by research. We know now that vitamin C is very, very well researched, but the problem with vitamin C is the formulation. It's very hard to have a stable product at the end, and also an effective product in the end. Another antioxidant that I love is vitamin E that works great with vitamin C. ferulic acid is also a great companion there. So that those three together are really working very well. And resveratrol is also a big one. So I've seen you use resveratrol in your products, right?
Yes, we use, so resveratrol is a polyphenol. So for that matter, we'll lump it in with antioxidants. And we also have a vitamin C product that is right now sold through dermatologists, but
Okay.
we are obsessed with resveratrol, and the main reason is because it is so versatile. The resveratrol, aside from its antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, it is also an activator of the sirtuin genes, which are the genes that are for to save us some time, we're going to call them the anti-aging genes, right? Because you've spoken before about the damage that blue light and UV damage can do to our genetic makeup. And what does it mean? I'm gonna say it very shortly, just so we can go over it. Any cell in our body has the recipe of how to create a full human being, right? It's like when they cloned the sheep Dolly, they've taken one and they've made a full animal, and that's a good way to understand it. And the way that our skin cell knows to be a skin cell, or our heart cell knows that it needs to be a heart cell, is by shutting off different parts of our DNA that are responsible for different processes. And what happens, and by the way, some of it, DNA methylation, some of it happens already in the womb. Some of that damage to our DNA, what it does, it actually kind of scrambles it up a little bit, or makes that CD of information scratched, and then the cell can have the wrong parts of the DNA turned on, and vice versa.
Right.
And there are a group of genes that are responsible to maintaining that damage and to reverse it. And the one big family of them are called sirtuins. And with age, unfortunately, they are not as effective. And resveratrol has been shown to encourage their activity. And another molecule that we use that we can talk about later is NAD, and that's the food that they require, and they require it to even begin their activity, and that is why we couple it with resveratrol. But yeah, that is why we use that molecule. What we have
That
noticed,
is smart.
yes, what we have noticed, by the way, is that resveratrol on its own needs specific enzymes to be to be uptaken by the skin or our body in general, and they are not present in the skin. And the way that we assist the skin is by the resveratrol that we use that is patented is fermented resveratrol. So in the fermentation process, we are helping the skin with the breakdown on resveratrol. And in internal studies, you're looking at about 50 times the efficacy of resveratrol. Yeah, so this is why we use it. So again, let's talk about antioxidant in general. Would you say something that, do you recommend one and not the other at an earlier age, and then in a later age maybe another one, or do you think that is something that should be consistent always?
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends a little bit on the formulation too. When you are younger, I would say you might want to use a more like a water-based product, because it's like absorbing very well, and yeah, you don't have that residue from an oil-based product. And I mean, if you are a little bit on the older, wiser side, you could you could opt for oil-based product. And like I said, like I mentioned, I love this combination of vitamin C, vitamin E, and ferulic acid. And I do believe, I mean, we have a lot of experience with that stuff. And I do believe that kind of anyone could benefit from using an antioxidant in their skincare routine.
I got it. So yeah, 100%. So now we were talking about this hypothetical 25-year-old. Let's say this 25-year-old magically has matured by 10, 15 years. How does the skincare routine look different now? And you can pick an age, by the way. So when would you say that the skincare routine changes?
Yeah, well, around 40, 50. I mean, especially for women, let's say, around the time you have your menopause, or around the menopause time, you definitely will see a change in your skin. Many women um, told us in the clinic, or report that they have dry skin,
Mhm.
or drier skin than before. So yeah, I mean, that's the time when you really really want to bring those hyaluronic acids, ceramides, and also the humectants, the big guys, the glycerin, the panthenol, and kind of everything that is reducing that transepidermal water loss.
Okay, so I have a question about hyaluronic acid. So hyaluronic acid is that molecule that our body uses in order to make to keep moisture, and the big elevator pitch about the 1 minute pitch about hyaluronic acid, that it can contain 1,000 times its weight in molecular weight in moisture, so it can kind of hold on to a lot of moisture, and that is why it has been very popular. My question is, there are some studies looking at the fact that it draws moisture also from the deeper layers of the skin, and might long term not be so positive. So my question
Yeah.
is, what are you seeing with that?
Yeah, I mean, that is totally right, because you all have to understand how hyaluronic acid is a sugar that binds water. So when you apply it to your skin and there is no water on the surface of the skin, what happens is that, I mean, this molecule knows, okay, I need water, I need to bind water right now. So what happens is it it draws water out of your deeper skin layers just to bind its water. Yeah, I mean, it wants water. So I mean, yeah, that's a big problem, because I mean, many people do not know this fact. So the solution to that is to apply these hyaluronic acids to damp skin, or to
Mhm.
end actually to use a humidifier in your bedroom, especially in during the winter months. So
Okay.
we use a lot of a lot of heat here in Germany, because it is very cold, I guess in New York too. So yeah, that is the solution to this problem. So these studies are
Very
definitely true, and this is true for all humectants, like glycerin, panthenol, and of course hyaluronic acids, because they all need water to work and they all bind water. So if there is no water on the skin surface, they will draw water out of your deeper skin layers out.
So you're saying you should apply it to damp skin, to skin that has some water on it.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Very
right.
interesting. That's actually very interesting. So when we do talk about people in their 40s, in their 50s, now we are seeing more specific problems, right? We're seeing people that their skin has changed in specific ways. Not everyone is the same. So as far as people that are concerned with lines, wrinkles, as obviously there are injectables
Mm.
that they can do, and will improve that situation. But as far as skincare, we've spoken about retinoids already. But are there other things that you see that work in later ages for frown lines, smile lines, etc.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we have a few studies about peptides right now, but they are not there yet, right? I mean, they do not have the same effect that retinoids or retinols have on the skin, but they are promising. Especially copper peptide is pretty well researched, and it is a promising ingredient.
Would you say the main copper peptide is GHKCU, or which one would you say people should be kind of looking for?
Right. Yeah, I mean that is kind of confusing, I guess, for people because there are a lot of brands do not mention exactly what kind of peptides they do use. And
Right.
I mean, I guess the only way to know exactly for sure is to really look for copper peptide on the ingredient list or to to email the brand in question. Yeah.
Yeah. I know you like The Ordinary, right? The brand The Ordinary.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Their kind of higher end line that's called Niod, they have, I've heard, a very, very nice copper peptide product.
Oh, boy, I
And
have to check that out.
yes, check it out. We're working on it. Again, it's going to take a while because the science is not there. We're waiting for a few studies to publish. Because for what we're seeing right now, peptides are very effective. Or you see when peptides are effective, it's normally through injections. That's what we're seeing in general. And topical peptides, again, we don't see as much effect. What we do use is Matrixyl 3000, which is from the family
Yeah.
of peptides that are they're people call them mini Botox. I think it's a little
Right,
bit of
right. Or Botox in a bottle, right?
yeah, I think it's a little bit of an exaggeration that started with the Spanish company that made argyroline. They kind of made these claims, but really what they are little codes, right, that the body writes. It's like a computer code that the body writes and asks specific things. So we are using a peptide that is also increasing a little bit collagen production and slowing down a little bit the signals from the brain to the muscles, and therefore does create some relaxation of the wrinkles.
Yeah,
So
but
as far as peptides, are these the peptides that you're looking at, or is there something that we're missing there, a new peptide that you know of, or anything like that?
no, I mean those two that we've discussed about, they are I think the only peptides that are really backed by research, and all the other peptides are kind of questionable, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I've actually. So there is a Romanian. I think I'm not going to name her, just so you know. There is a Romanian OBGYN here in around us that is offering injections, facial injections of a peptide called BPC 157, which is hilarious to me because this is a peptide you should be using. At least cyclists use it 2 to 3 times a day for different recovery properties, and these are not very well researched. And its collagen promotion is even less researched. So doing an injection once in a while, I don't feel is a very effective way of increasing collagen, but it's there. I mean, like peptides are a big issue right now in the United States. The benefits for us as a manufacturer is that peptides most of them cannot be patented because the body it is a
interesting.
derivative. It is a derivative of a natural molecule that is in the body.
Yeah.
They cannot be patented. And what we're seeing right now with big pharma is a push to outlaw peptides and the creation of pro peptides.
Okay.
compounds who are encouraging the production of peptide. So let's enjoy them while we can. But that's why part of the reason the research is not very, very quick, because there isn't a lot of incentive to research peptides, again, because they cannot be patented for the most part.
So they're not so interesting for these big companies. Yeah.
Exactly. Some peptides, like argyreline, which is a part of these peptides that we talked about that slow the signal from the brain to the muscles, they can be patented because they're snippets of a peptide. But again, they're not as. Go ahead.
Yeah, there are, I guess, 3 or 4 amino acids binded together, right?
Yes.
Or are they bigger? I guess. I mean, they're not bigger than that.
I think argyreline, if I'm not mistaken, I think argyreline is 15.
15. Okay.
I know SNAP 8, which is another one of those, is 8, but
okay.
I think 15, but it is a short chain anyway, which this is what allows it to go into the skin. That is the whole premise of topical peptides, that they are small and they can absorb into the skin. So this is kind of the realm of wrinkles, right? As far as people who have other issues, such as pigmentation or dullness or rougher skin, what would be the molecules for them to look out for?
Well, I really love azelaic acid. It's a truly a multitasker. So you can use it for hyperpigmentation, all kinds of hyperpigmentation, from sunspots to melasma to, I don't know, dark spots to post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. And they also have a little bit of an anti-aging effect, and they also exfoliate your skin very, very gently. So it's also kind of all-in-one ingredient, and it's also actually very well tolerated by all skin types. So that's one of my favorite ingredients right now.
Okay, azelaic acid.
Yeah, right.
Very interesting. Okay, what else? So we've mentioned vitamin C, right? Is there a specific concentration of vitamin C that you would recommend? Again, and could you please, actually, let's circle back to the fact to formulation, because there is a challenge. We have our skin barrier. It's not even about how well it survived in the jar, and God knows where that jar has been and temperatures, etc. But now it arrived to your house, and you even put it in the fridge, okay, for that matter.
Right, because that's a big trend right now.
Yes, it is. That's actually a very interesting trend, where 10 years ago you were afraid to put out a product which you said that you got to refrigerate it, to now where you make refrigerated specifically for product. Which is, to me, hilarious, but good on anyone who's that serious. Great. And you can take very nice pictures normally with these fridges.
Right.
So, but now we apply vitamin C to the skin. Why? What should we look for? What is the difference between different vitamin C's as far as applying them to the skin?
Yeah, well, the active form of vitamin C is L-ascorbic acid. So I would look out for that, because there are a lot of brands out there that use kind of modified version of this L-ascorbic acid. And I mean, we do not have studies that show that these modified versions are actually or can be absorbed by our skin. So I would stay away from that stuff, and I would look out for L-ascorbic acid. And also because you mentioned the concentrations, I I'm pretty sure that most potent concentrations or most effective concentrations are around 5 to 20% vitamin C. But we have to mention that a high concentration means a bigger risk of irritation. So that's kind of yeah, you have to figure that out for yourself. If you have a dry or a sensitive skin, a reactive skin, I would say you should go a little bit lower with the concentration and see how that works for you.
Yeah, and you're 100% right. As a side note, again, the main reason, the main reason we chose to ferment or to use a fermented form of resveratrol was for that purpose, the purpose of giving a high or not a high concentration, but a higher concentration with eliminating as much as possible that irritation factor and making a formula that is more user-friendly.
That's interesting that you mentioned you use a fermented resveratrol because probiotics in skincare are also pretty in right now. So is your fermented resveratrol also kind of a probiotic, or do you have any research in that area?
Yes and no.
Okay.
The reason I'm saying yes and no because it is when it is bottled up, but we have not, and we do use airless bottles, which mean that inside the bottle there is no air when you pump it out. There is no air coming in and out and interacting with the material. Just a short explanation. So technically speaking, yes. The problem is, and that is a problem with the entire trend of probiotics. It is inside the liquid. I mean, these probiotics, there is no studies showing that when it reaches your fancy fridge at your on your countertop or whatever, that these probiotics have survived and are now active and can get absorbed into the skin. You know, there was some guy in the United States a few years ago that became a millionaire from selling air fresheners with probiotics in them. So the fact that something had probiotics when you had it, when you made it, doesn't mean that you're going to get them in the end. So you know, we really believe in honesty and honesty, and I think as far as the minute we don't have a study about it, we don't want to claim it too much, but that's only us.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, there are some studies out there that are done with patients who struggle with eczema, and they used a specific probiotic strain to treat this eczema, but this was in addition to topical classical eczema treatments, and this was done under very controlled circumstances. So these people were hospitalized. These probiotics were prepared there in the hospital. So I guess we cannot compare the results to our probiotics at home that we use at home.
Yeah, again, in any research, you're getting serious people who are handling serious products, etc. No offense to USPS or whatever mailing service you use in Europe, it's not the same conditions. Therefore, I think it's a challenge. I think the time needs to pass and research needs to be done, and then maybe we can revisit that. But as far as I'm concerned right now, it is a little bit of a wishful thinking to say that there are probiotics within the product, but there were when we made it. Another thing that we use to support skin flora, aside from the fermented resveratrol, are two things. First of all, is turmeric that we do have in our product, in our main product that is called Care, and another one is NAD. So both of them have shown to support gut flora, which are the same research that have shown that probiotics support. So the heuristic there, the idea that it would support the skin, is maintained. And each one of them on their own are very beneficial to the skin, again, on their own, aside from the flora of the skin. So we have some kind of a support system there. What we are, again, very concentrated in as far as skincare is concerned is really mitigating that genetical damage and activating those genes that are responsible for your skin's behavior. Because really, we're looking at, all of our conversation, obviously my questions, but all of our conversations was really divided by age, right? Why is it divided by age? Because we understand innately that our skin is less effective, or any cell in our body is less effective as time goes on. And
right. Yeah. And it is very interesting. Sorry to interrupt you. It's very interesting what you are telling. I mean, the fact. I mean, we all have genes. That's right, and we all have some potential cancerous genes and some bad genes, some genes for Alzheimer, or I don't know, some chronic diseases, or some premature aging genes. But like you mentioned, these genes can be turned on and off. And we can do this, of course, through skincare, but also through lifestyle and diet. So diet, stress management, actually, and sleep, they play a huge role in modifying the gene expression in our bodies.
Correct. So we've been talking and it's been fun, but it's been a very interesting conversation. But maybe shortly we can look at what are those lifestyle, if you could really give a short do's and don'ts, a short list. What are the main factors for skin health and anti-aging as far as that goes?
Yeah. So I will begin with the diet, because that's really my favorite topic. So please avoid foods with a high glycemic index. That means very processed foods, like packaged foods. They are usually very processed, like candy bars, crackers, like I mentioned, also white bread, white pasta, and sugars. So how is this? If we have a little bit more time, I would explain how is this glycemic index affecting our skin. So what happens is, when we eat these foods, our blood sugar spikes, and as a response to that blood sugar spike, our insulin level spikes. So that phenomenon triggers a whole cascade of events that in turn trigger inflammation throughout our bodies and in our skins. So skin conditions like acne, eczema, psoriasis, rosacea, they are worsened by these type of foods. They are. I'm not saying that by eating I don't know, a piece of cake, you will get acne. That is not what I'm saying, because the diet is not directly causing your acne, but it can make it way worse. So
I think a good example would be, you will not get overweight, you will not be obese by stopping by a McDonald's one time. That's not going to make you obese.
Right.
That's fine. But that decision contributes to a much larger picture. And if you would make that decision over and over and over again, that would accumulate. And am I correct to assume that actually goes beyond acute conditions, as just as a general rule as skin aging? The more healthy you are, the less inflammation, etc., the less
Right.
you will age and the less your skin would age.
Yep, that is perfectly right. And beyond inflammation, these sugar molecules or excess sugar molecules that you have in your bloodstream when you eat a lot of these highly processed foods and sugars, these molecules, they can attach to your collagen and elastin in the skin in a process called glycation. And as a result of this glycation process, your collagen and your elastin fibers become kind of stiff, and you lose that young, plump feeling of your skin and that elasticity that we associate with young skin.
Mm-hmm.
So this also leads to premature aging.
So what is your diet consists of? Look how beautiful your skin looks. You know, I bet everyone
Thank
who's
you.
watching right now just wonders, okay, what is she eating? I want to eat exactly the same.
Yeah, right. So I really try to stay away from anything that is processed, and I
Mm-hmm.
stick to the basics. Leafy greens, a lot of them, a lot of veggies, a lot of fruits, but there I mean fruits are kind of controversial because they can be loaded with sugar, so just keep that in mind. You
Mm-hmm.
want to stick to fruits that are low in sugars, like berries, for example. A lot of nuts and seeds because our skin is craving those good fats. A lot
Yes.
of olive oil. And if you need carbs, if you absolutely necessarily need those carbs, you can get them from sweet potatoes, from whole grains like oats and quinoa, and brown rice, for example. Yeah,
Understood.
that's
Okay, so slower digested carbs, more complex
that's
carbs.
right, right. And another thing that I love and that is very very important for your gut health, and we are here again at gut skin axis, genau, really a very important topic. So I love probiotic foods, like kefir, for
Mhm.
example, Greek yogurt, kimchi, and I guess pickles are also high in probiotics if you love that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're now in Germany, so sauerkraut is everywhere.
Yeah. Right, right. But I mean, yeah, sauerkraut is also very good, but I would pay attention there because some of these products do contain a lot of added sugars. So
Mhm.
yeah, just pick your products the right way. Take 30 seconds or 1 minute to read that label, or yeah, and be sure that your products do not contain added sugar.
Fantastic. And what about, so the last, pillar that you've mentioned in the beginning, and we're going to get back to it in the end, is sleep. So why is sleep so important? I know that is a question only someone who doesn't get a lot of sleep would ask, but why is sleep so important? And then what do you pay attention as far as sleep quality?
Yeah. Well, what happens is that when we lack sleep, or if we had a few nights of bad sleep, what happens is that our body registers this bad sleep as stress. So we get a stress response that leads to high levels of cortisol, and cortisol is the main stress hormone in our bodies. And these high levels of cortisol lead again to inflammation. So we are
Mhm.
full circle. We are back to inflammation. Yeah. So that, of course, in turn affects our skin's appearance, and can exacerbate again those inflammatory skin conditions like acne and eczema.
Understood. So if to summarize it, we basically, if we look at skin health as a whole, as far as you're concerned, we really look at a simple skincare routine concentrating on good ingredients, on the correct ingredients, and then supporting it with the right lifestyle choices as far as nutrition goes and as far as sleep goes. Are there any supplements that you are taking that affect your skin, or any other thing that you can share with us, like a small trick that you have, anything?
Yeah, of course, the basics. You have to pay attention to the basics, like we've mentioned: diet, sleep, and stress management. For stress management, I do love doing some yoga, meditating, and box breathing. If you do not have that much time, I mean, you always have 10 seconds to do some box breathing, and that is really calming your nervous system instantly. So I love that one. That's kind of my trick when I'm when I have a very hectic and busy day. And I do take supplements because right now, because of my lifestyle, I do not always have the time to eat all my meals. So yeah, I'm not a perfect example. I do my best, but I'm not perfect. So I do take some supplements, a multivitamin, some zinc, because that's also a big one, especially if you produce a lot of oil. That kind of helps a lot, a little bit, or for some people a lot. Depends on how you respond to it. With that sebum or oil production in your oil glands. I also take some probiotics for a better gut health, and some magnesium and potassium, because I do kind of train a lot. It's also a stress management tool for me. So yeah, that helps a little bit with muscle recovery on and all that. Can write the stuff.
A small question about zinc. Do you make sure that you take it together with quercetin, or is it something that you don't pay attention to?
No, I do not pay attention to that, but that's an interesting point you've mentioned, because yeah, I mean, the absorption of zinc is sometimes a little bit of controversial, but I do not take it with anything else. It's just a plain zinc
Okay.
supplement. I do take 10 milligrams per day. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Christina, I think the best thing someone can do, and I'm not even trying to be nice, this is a truth, is to follow you on Instagram, because the amount of knowledge that is there, it's almost like going through a mini dermatological medical school. It's really all you need to know is already there. So I would really, recommend everyone to follow you and check your progress and what you're posting very religiously. Are you mainly on
Thank
Instagram? That is where I reached out and where I saw your material. But is there another social network where you blog, or is that the main one?
That is the main one at the moment, but I really, really hope to expand my social media accounts and activities soon. Actually, as soon as I'm graduating, because then I will have a little bit more time for social media, I guess.
Great. And I really hope, Christina, I really hope we can make a habit of this talk, because I feel like what we did here is just getting it started. It's just like the
I would
appetizing.
really love to. Yeah, I would really, really love to. It was really fun to talk with you, and it's yeah, it's a very, very interesting exchange of information. I love it.
Amazing. Thank you again, Christina. And we will follow up with content for that podcast, which
Great.
I would love your help with. I'll email you about it. And yeah, check us out soon for more content. And thank you very much, Christina.
Thank you for having me, and yeah, stay safe, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
That's the most important.
Right.
All right, take care.